We'll go over these things, and the main reason we're here is for you to ask questions, because pretty much everything that I'm going to tell you, you've got it in written form in your packet of information where it says Honor Flight Guardian Duties and Responsibilities. So let's just go over a few of these, and again, at any time during any of these, if you have any questions, just ask it. Now, what I'll probably have to do, because you're not mic'd, I'll probably have to repeat your question for the camera, but we can take care of that. Okay, I said briefly in there that one of the responsibilities of your guardian is not to be a tourist. Now, you're going to enjoy seeing a lot of stuff, but I can't emphasize enough taking care of your veteran. Now, here's a problem you're going to have. You're dealing with a bunch of independent guys, and there's one lady veteran on this flight, and she and her friend, and also in her 80s, drove to Florida last week to pick up a dog, so she's going to be independent as well. So you're dealing with some folks that'll run off away from you. So watch out for that. I mean, try to stay with them. And if you're someone who has two veterans that you're looking out for, that's even harder, because you may have one that wants to go to the Vietnam Memorial and one that wants to go to the Korean Memorial. Got to sort of work with them and say, you know, we'll try to get both of them. But again, stay with your guardian. We've had guardians, I hate to say this, but we've had guardians that are standing by themselves at a memorial, and I say, where is your veteran? Oh no, he ran off. I can't keep up with it. We got some guardians, some bus captains that are here that'll tell you some stories that you just soon not hear. We lost one gentleman for probably 45 minutes at the Korean Memorial. He had told his brother, who was his guardian, that he was going to stay on the bus. He didn't feel like walking. Well, he got off the bus. After everybody had gone, he got off the bus. We found him probably less than 100 yards, less than 50 yards from the bus. He was sitting at the snack bar, but he was hidden. We were looking at the Korean Memorial, we were looking at the Lincoln Memorial, we were looking at the Vietnam. And if you're trying to look for somebody in Washington at those places, that's difficult. So if they want to stay on the bus at some of those memorials, stay on the bus with them. And like I said, you're not there to be a tourist, even though you're going to enjoy this trip. This is going to be a highlight of your life, I can promise you that. So your primary job, again, is to watch out for your veteran. Okay, let's go to the second one. Safety is our major concern. Don't have to explain anything, but one little hint. My wife tries to keep me straight. And she told me years ago, when we're going down the stairs, I need to be in front of her in case she falls. I said, on me? So think about that. If your veteran is going down escalators, you be in front of that veteran. If you're going up the escalator, be behind them. You got to be ready to catch them at all times. I think of the mishaps that we've had. We had one guy stumble and bruise his knee, one guy that slipped on the granite at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, bumped his head, and no major injuries, but we don't want to have a major injury. So be alert at all time for all this. If it happens to be raining, the granite at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is slick. Well, it's slick everywhere, but that's the one place that they warn us about, that and the Iwo Jima Memorial. Be careful, okay? If you notice any concern with your veteran, physically, if they look like they're getting real tired or shortness of breath, we're going to give you a card that you're going to keep in your wallet or on your person, in your name tag bag, that's going to have the cell numbers of each one of these doctors. You don't need to know which doctor it is, but just call one of them, and they'll find you. Just identify where you are. We've had to do that a couple times. We had one that his blood sugar got out of hand, and we had to take care of that. So just keep that card. It's important, and call that number as soon as you notice anything about your veteran. Be alert at all times. We talked about that. Keep your eye on them. Make sure they got everything they need off the bus, off the airplane. Don't hesitate to ask them questions, that sort of thing. Make conversation with them. Try to find out whether they served in the European theater, the Pacific theater, where they were, that sort of thing, and just, keep up with them that way, okay? And let it be an experience that both of you can enjoy. Number 6 says this day you'll play a large part in making memories. Don't ask them, would you like for me to take your picture? Because they'll probably say, nah. Say, I want to take your picture in front of this memorial. Let them know that you want to do that for them. They will have cameras. Some of them will have the disposable film cameras, not digital. Ask them how to use it. They'll tell you, they know, but be sure to say, would you like, no, not would you like, may I take your picture? I want to take your picture. I need this. They won't ask you to take their picture. Chances are they won't do that. Take your picture with them. You're going to be special to them for the rest of their life, I promise. I think they talked about not accepting donations to the program from any veteran. A lot of times on the plane back, we'll have a veteran say, I'd like to donate some money to Honor Flight. We say, this is not what you're supposed to do. They want to do it, and they'll do it. But we don't want them to think this trip costs them anything, because it doesn't. If they want to give a donation, let them do it when they get back home. No pressure whatsoever. Okay. Section captains will check off veterans and guardians when you get on and off the plane and on and off the buses during the tour. There'll be somebody standing at the door to check your name off. Again, even at these buses, stand behind your veteran when they're getting on the bus. Go ahead of them when they're getting off the bus. And if you feel awkward and they say, I don't need any help, just sort of reach out your hand and say thank you for your service and help them on down the bus, okay? But just watch out for any little chance. A lot of times when we get off at the World War II Memorial, if the bus is not exactly where it should be at the curb, there's a little bit of an awkward step. Just be alert for things like that. Don't let them pay for anything on the trip. It's like Mike said, there's nothing to buy. There's only one place that's a snack bar and a souvenir stand, and that's between the Korea and Vietnam and Lincoln Memorial. They don't want souvenirs. Most of them don't want souvenirs. But if they do, get it for them, okay? All right, encourage the veteran to take lots of photographs. Talked about that one. Nobody's going to go hungry. As a matter of fact, if you're on a diet, you better watch out, because you're going to end up getting more food on this trip than you can imagine. The sandwiches are big. Drinks are big. So don't worry about buying food or anything like that. Be alert for emotional situations. You just sort of watch out for that. And there's nothing that we can tell you to do except be sensitive. You'll have all kind of reactions when somebody that served at Guadalcanal comes to that place. And you just never know how they're going to react. But be sensitive. Just listen is the main thing. Just listen to your veteran. Okay. Keep plenty of fluids in them. We take gobs of water, and it's on each bus. Bottles of water are always available. We had an interesting thing happen, and we're not going to have this particular tour guide with us this year, but she didn't want the veterans to take the water with them off the bus. We never found out why, but she's not with us this time, so I think you can understand some things there. But make sure they keep water at all times. We don't want anybody dehydrated. And we got plenty of water for them. Just watch out for those needs. And it's okay to ask if they're feeling okay. Don't pester them to death, but it's okay to ask how they're feeling, if they're enjoying the trip and that sort of thing, just to try to find out a little bit about them. The red bus is designated as the wheelchair bus. And Jim Kennison and Bill Myers, are y'all in here right now by any chance? Okay, Bill and Jim are back here. They're on the wheelchair bus, and they probably are the hardest working captains, but then they're the youngest and the strongest also. That's called bribery, I believe. But they will help get the wheelchairs on and off the buses. The buses have wheelchair lifts and that sort of thing. It takes a little longer sometimes to get those buses loaded. So we have to practice some patience on this trip, but that's okay. Won't be a problem, I'm sure. The last thing, check the weather forecast before you go. If it says it's going to rain, take something to keep the rain off of you. If it says it's going to be chilly, you got your windbreaker. Make sure you take that. We carry 35 wheelchairs with us. And right now, I think we only have 20 veterans that say they need wheelchairs on the red bus. So yes, we've got extra wheelchairs. There'll be 2 captains on each bus. If that does happen, if you have 2 veterans and one wants to go in one direction, and this will usually happen at the Korean, Vietnam, Lincoln Memorial, where they might want to go in different directions, or they're tired and they want to stay there. Talk to your bus captain and say, one of my veterans wants to stay on the bus, the other one, they may sit them over at the snack bar where we can see them. Don't hide them at the snack bar because we might miss them, but we can work that out. Get your veteran's cell phone number and give him yours. Program it into his phone if you want to, but make sure that if he does stray away from you, that you can have a way of making contact.